Welcome back to the mix. Our skin, it's the biggest organ on the human body. We need to take care of it. Joining me is dermatologist Brooke Jeffy to give us tips on taking care of our skin. And of course, here in Arizona, it's a challenge. It's almost always sunny, and you think we all need to be aware of something called the UV index. What is that, and what do we need to know?
Yes, exactly. Well, first, thank you so much for having me. Such a relevant topic with what we're going through right now here in Arizona. The UV index, I think it's super important because it will help you understand what you're up against. So the UV index, you can find it on apps on your smartwatch, on your phone, of course online. And what it does is it takes into account the ozone layer, the cloud coverage, and the elevation where you're located. So it's very specific to where you are, and it just gives you a guide of how on top of your sun protection you need to be. So 2 or less, you're great to be outdoors, of course with protection, but you don't have to worry so much about it. 3 to 8, you need to be a little bit more worried. You want to try to stay in the shade. 7 and 8, you definitely want to avoid those midday hours. And then 9 and 10, you are going to definitely not want to be out midday. And then 11 plus, you do not want to go outside, if at all possible. Your skin will burn in minutes. And unfortunately, that's what we have for the foreseeable future in our forecast.
Dr. Jeffy, I mean, we just saw pictures of people baking cookies on their dashboard. Don't bake your skin. One of the easiest things you can do to cover up your skin is sun protective clothing. You're not dealing with anything goopy, sticky, sunscreen that might have melted in your car. You have some favorite items here.
Yes, all excellent points. So what I would love your viewers to take away from this is to think about sunscreen as a second line of defense, not the first, okay?
Good, yeah.
So that is kind of against what a lot of people's thinking has been up until this point. So for sun protective clothing, you want to look for things like wide brim hats.
Oops, okay, we got it, we saved it.
Wide brim hats, okay, not a little ball cap, wide brim.
Yeah, your baseball cap gives you a false sense, but it's just covering
the central upper part of your face. It's not enough, so go for the wide brim. Sun protective sleeves are awesome.
These are great for athletes, by the way. My kids play baseball and football, and that's a drippy fit anyway, and it protects your arm.
Exactly. And gloves, sun protective gloves, perfect. I mean, anytime you're outside, but definitely great for driving, for example. So hold on to those.
Because the age of your hands can really give you away. You know, you can have a beautiful face with no wrinkles or sunspots, and then the hands are a different story.
Exactly. And then, of course, sun protective shirts. So these are great. You do need to pay attention to how the fabric is protecting you. So UPF rating in some fabrics will tell you how many washes it lasts, and that is important to remember. Also, the weave of the product is important. So if you're relying on that, one great test I like to do is you kind of put your hand through it, hold it up to the light. You want it to be opaque. If you can see your hand through it, it's not protecting you much.
Can also see your skin to fry it. We only have 1 more minute. I wish we had longer with you because I love interviewing dermatologists and asking, what do you yourself use? And she's got a 13-year-old boy, same as me. So let's get to your favorite. Let's get to this.
So I love this La Roche-Posay sunscreen, this melt-in milk. It goes on well, rubs in. It's great for hair-bearing areas, so husbands love it. My son is willing to use it on his face, so it's a great product.
And it doesn't have that white cast.
It does not, maybe a tinge, but it rubs in pretty well.
And by the way, when you said hair-bearing areas, are you talking about your parts?
No, I'm talking about like arms, legs on boys. For your part, you can get powders. There are a lot of great powders out there, some that are actually specifically marketed for parts.
That's so smart because I know a lot of skin cancers are found, you know, on people's parts and on the top of their ears and places you forget. Hat. Okay, this is your second line of defense. This is your first. Dr. Brooke Jeffy, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.